We're over here at Saturn in Mesquite today, and we're actually going to take a look at the Redline version of a vehicle called the Sky. It is a modern-day interpretation of the classic Roadster. And with all Roadsters, what's very compelling about them is usually the performance, obviously the style that brings you in. Let's begin and talk a little bit about the style of this car and really how it comes to life and what's really kind of commanding about it. When you look at the front of the Sky Roadster that you see here, what you notice is that it's a very wide vehicle, okay? And it's wide and very aggressive because it's a different interpretation of a Roadster. You get the feeling that this particular vehicle is hunkered down to the ground. It's got great control in terms of what you're seeing here. But each one of the lines and the style that you see here is very purposeful in bringing this whole effect together. We notice in the front fascia, as things kind of swoop over, notice how the integration of the teardrop type headlamps inside the vehicle come to life and really add to the character of this particular vehicle. Once again, in this headlamp structure, you're going to notice that we have here projector beam headlamps in the vehicle. They're not only there just for great style, but they give you better illumination at nighttime further out down the road. Down here at the bottom, you're going to notice that you've actually got some area inlets down here. It looks pretty commandeering, looks pretty aggressive, but I will tell you, they're functional too. This vehicle not only looks good, performs well, and as you can well imagine, when it comes to high-spirited performance driving, you need to have really good cooling for your brakes, and these are actually inlets for the air, for the brakes on the vehicle. So, kind of keeping in that style and the function is also there on the vehicle. What you're looking at here is that you're seeing the balance of the dynamic between the tire, the wheel, and also the wheel well housing. Notice how this fits in very, very nice inside the vehicle, very, very tight, very little space or gap. Kind of really symbolizes a lot what happens when you look at the concept vehicles that come out of a number of the different auto shows across the country. Not only is that going to help this vehicle, but a wide track and of course very tight architecture is going to allow for this car to handle exceptionally well, of course going right in line with the character of what a Roadster is all about. We move a little bit further down the vehicle and we follow that character line, this top belt line, and what you're going to notice is that it sets the belt line in place for the open air Roadster feeling that you see here. The Roadster rack top, but that actually rests behind here in a clamshell style back trunk of the vehicle, so it's out of the way, nicely tucked down inside the vehicle. The rear fascia, very impressive, very expansive on the back of the vehicle, and really just lets you know that it's aggressive from the front to the side to the back of the Sky Redline that you see here. Let's talk about some details that we notice on the back of the car that you won't find on other Roadsters that are out there in the marketplace. The one that I like here is kind of neat, is kind of like just taking the center high mounted stop lamp to the next level. As you notice here, this is actually clear on the vehicle, but if you were going to go ahead and press the brake on the car, those are LEDs that actually illuminate in red. Nice tie-in with the reverse light down here at the bottom, which is also clear, so you can see, once again, a very high attention to detail in terms of bringing it all together. Now, by this being the Redline series, this is their top performance edition vehicle. And one of the ways you can tell a Redline just by looking at the exterior of the car, aside from the badging on the vehicle, is that they actually have dual outlet exhaust pipes on the vehicle. They are polished tips that you see here on the right side, and of course a polished tip down here on the left-hand side, but that completes the whole fascia and the duality that you see there of this vehicle. You can't have a performance vehicle today without having a great powertrain inside the vehicle. We actually have a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder engine that's actually turbocharged inside the vehicle. It produces 260 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. So this is a small vehicle and one that it has over 130 horsepower per liter, okay? That is extremely efficient in terms of what you'll find out in the marketplace. Even when you look at performance vehicles like BMWs and above, the best that they're able to do is about 100 horsepower per liter. So when you look at this is just a marvel of a powertrain and power plant in the vehicle. How do they do it? Well, let me talk a little bit about the technology inside this engine. First of all, this is one of the first vehicles that actually come with what we call direct injection. Direct injection actually takes the fuel that you normally have in a fuel injection system and places it down in the combustion chamber of the engine. By doing that, you get a cleaner, more efficient burn, but a more powerful level of power coming through the vehicle. The second component that makes this vehicle really come to life is the turbocharger that's on this particular vehicle. This particular turbo gives you the 260 pound-feet of torque, okay, coming at 2,500 RPM and staying with you all the way through 5,250 or somewhere around 5,200 RPM in the vehicle. That's pretty impressive because what that means is that that gives you power on tap when you need it just about any time when you're driving this particular vehicle. This particular engine in this vehicle with a 5-speed manual transmission will deliver 22 miles to the gallon in the city and 31 miles to the gallon on the highway. Pretty impressive for a car that can go 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. And with it being a limited slip, it can put power down to both wheels, so therefore you're not slipping and sliding all over the place when you take off. And you will need that with a 260 horsepower engine that this particular vehicle has to offer. Now I want to talk about the interior a little bit because we talked about how well things are communicated on the theme and the style on the outside, but guess what? That theme still does carry right here to the interior of the vehicle. It is basically a cockpit type of style interior that you see here, but one thing that's really nice about it, everything is logically placed where it needs to be in reach of the driver for easy access and obviously use. Beginning with information on the vehicle, what you're going to notice that we have two very deep canned instrument panel clusters that we have on the vehicle here. Most important being, of course, on your left here, the speedometer, then on your right being the tachometer of the vehicle. And of course, we have the information center that comes on here in between those two cans that you see there. But the idea is this: all of your information is nicely nestled right in front of the driver where it needs to be and can give you that relay or that readout anytime that is necessary. And what I like about that is that all your instrumentation that is necessary works and goes with it. The stalks on the vehicle, both your lights are separated out from where your wipers on the car, not too many functions on one of the stalks, that makes it really nice. And on the steering wheel, a very thick rim steering wheel for great feeling when you're driving around those corners, taking it pretty fast. At your fingertips here, you'll have communication buttons available to you. Obviously, too, the Bluetooth communications with a pretty nice thing in modern day vehicles. And of course, your cruise control settings are all right here at the touch of a finger on this particular steering wheel. Let's talk a bit more about the details inside this interior that really kind of separate it apart from others out there in the industry. Notice the center IP definitely catches your attention, okay? That jewel-like effect once again comes across in the center IP through the use of the piano black IP center inside the vehicle. Just looks gorgeous inside this vehicle. Moving further down, you have the integrated center console, which will either house basically the automatic transmission or basically the manual transmission, depending upon the flavor that you like inside of your vehicle. When you look at this vehicle as far as the value story is concerned, these vehicles come in the marketplace at just over $30,000 for all this level of performance in the Redline series. And let me tell you something else about that too. Let's look at that fuel economy that we talked about before. 31 miles to the gallon on the highway, 22 in the city at 260 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. That is just incredible. Let me give you one other last piece here that I want to share with you before we leave here today. You know, when you're looking for that modern day vehicle that's going to be a classic over time, right here and right now, you sometimes wonder, what vehicle should I pick? What car could I actually go after out there? Here, this Sky that you see here is definitely one of those vehicles. There's under 4,000 of these vehicles that were produced in the 2009 model year. And I will tell you this, there's not that many that are out there. But let me tell you, over here at Saturn of Mesquite, they've got a couple of them here. You might want to come out and check out and see for yourself and find the one that is right for you.